Welcome to the Workforce Wire podcast, brought to you by Employ Prince George's, bridging the gap between job seekers and businesses. And now, here's your host, Walter Simmons.
Welcome to the Workforce Wire. This is Walter Simmons, your host, President and CEO of Employ Prince George's. Today I have one of my close colleagues, a local business in Prince George's County, hopefully a future board member of the Prince George's County Workforce Board, Shay Curry, the HR manager at Eaton Aerospace. Thank you for coming to the show and talking to us today about advanced manufacturing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me, Walter.
So this podcast is about workforce development, giving tools and techniques to job seekers, businesses, but also workforce professionals across the country. We really want to talk about advanced manufacturing, but before we get there, tell me about Eaton. Tell me about Eaton Aerospace. What is it? How should people know who you are? What do you do?
Okay, so Eaton is a global power management company, right? You flick on our website, the first thing you're going to see is we make what matters works. And then there's an asterisk. So that asterisk is identifies our different businesses and how each of them make what matters work. So you asked about aerospace. In aerospace, the way we make what matters works in Beltsville is that we route air off an airplane engine, right? So the easiest way to think about it is in your home, your plumbing routes water, right? There's tubes and there's connections and joints. We do the same thing off of an airplane engine. So when you're flying to your vacation home, right, where yours is in Florida or somewhere. Sure.
Yeah, I wish. South Beach.
There you go. When you're flying to your vacation home and you turn the nozzle and that air comes out cool, that's actually coming off of the engine, which is extremely hot, and routing through our parts. It's cooling that down, and then it's allowing us as passengers to stay comfortable. It's also allowing the wings from getting too cold, right, in the wintertime. And just, a few other applications. But the main way for everyone to think about it is when you get on the plane and you're going somewhere or a loved one's coming to you, they're able to make it to you because of what we do in Beltsville, Maryland.
Wow. Right in Beltsville, Maryland. If you want to, this is going to be a great episode today. If you're interested in learning more about our podcast or learning more about Prince George's County Workforce Development, Employ Prince George's, visit us at www.employpg.org. Again, that's www.employpg.org. Shay, as a workforce development podcast, before we really go into deep, how can our listeners need to understand and know, how does somebody become an HR manager? What was your career pathway? How did you get here? And then how did you get into HR in advanced manufacturing?
Yeah, and it's been a journey for sure. So growing up, I played sports, right? And I was fortunate enough to get to go to college on a football scholarship. And I'll be honest, I was a senior and wasn't quite sure what I was going to do when I graduated.
What position were you playing?
Cornerback.
Oh, yeah, CB.
Cornerback.
You got a little speed on you.
Yeah, a little speed.
Okay,
I was a little bigger too back then, but you
got smaller after football. I got bigger after football.
There you go.
That's another show.
Another podcast.
Okay.
I was leaving my senior year and I was getting ready to leave, and I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how my skills, right? I was a quick learner, right? I did well in school, but I didn't know how my skills would translate into the workforce. I wanted to be in business, right?
Okay.
So I talked to a few people. I was fortunate enough to network with my uncle who works at Michigan State.
Networking.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. So networking, and I guess you don't network with your family, but nonetheless, right? My uncle.
Use your network.
Correct. So he worked in their labor relations department, and he informed me about, kind of talked to me about a career in HR, right? So through talking to him, and he was saying how, look, it relates to your athletics background, your coaching. In the summers of when I was in undergrad, I would coach at what was called National Youth Sports Program back in Kansas City, Kansas, my hometown. So he said, look, it really relates. You should look at it. So, me being not really knowing what to expect. I applied to grad schools across the country and ended up getting accepted at the University of Minnesota out in Minneapolis, and the rest is kind of history. But if you're talking about advanced manufacturing, I didn't really set out to go, but the more that I learned about advanced manufacturing and just how it impacts all of our daily lives. I mean, my first job was working in Nebraska where we made engine valves, and the engine valve is, it's a pretty small component when you look at a whole car. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't believe that, we were employing 500 people just by making that engine valve. So I sat back and I said, wow, there's a lot. If we're doing this, then who's making this gear and who's
the valve
making
stem, all of that?
Exactly. The rocker arms, all of these components. And that's what really fascinated me, because I could go out and I could have a dinner discussion, and, it was a discussion point. Hey, yeah, I make this. And people are like, well, what's an engine valve? Okay, let me tell you. Right. Okay. So it's the same way with what we make here and other parts of Eaton that I've had the opportunity to work. Advanced manufacturing is really something you can, in my opinion, you can be proud of the work you do, because you see it every day and you're kind of the unnoticed, party, right? Because people don't know. You got on the plane and you flew. You didn't know who made it.
You don't know who made it, how it was made.
Yeah, exactly.
I think me being a car person, I understand valves and valve stems and things of that. But for those that don't understand, what is advanced manufacturing? And then I'm gonna hit you with two questions. What is advanced manufacturing, and what is the difference between manufacturing versus advanced manufacturing?
Okay, good distinction there. So let me try to provide my definition. You may
no pressure. Google. There's only like 1 million people listening.
Okay,
not really, but we'll give it to you.
You may Google and you may hear something different, but I'm sure it'll be in the same, similar. So when you're talking about manufacturing, is making things, right?
Okay.
Whether it's a T-shirt or a pen or a whole car, right?
Okay.
Advanced manufacturing is where you get into working with certain exotic metals, whether it be Inconel or titanium, right? And also you're working with tight tolerances, and the equipment that you're using is more automated. It's more computer generated.
I always see like CNC manufacturing, things of that sort. And I just hear all the time how they say how the manufacturing industry is going to change, because it used to be by hand and now it's all by computers.
Yep, everything. So everyone in these, you hear a lot about STEM fields. All of that is important. Math, science, all of those are really important. And when you think about the difference between just manufacturing and advanced, traditional manufacturing, we think of making things by hand, mm-hmm. right? I'm hammering something in. Advanced manufacturing, you're taking a CNC machine and you're plugging in a program and it's trimming away, the metal and things to make whatever the part is that it's making. And that's all. It's not an energy exertion physically of the operator. It's more of a mental exertion.
So advanced manufacturing is really the difference between what we originally used to envision, a Detroit mm-hmm. GM or Ford power plant and a bunch of people walking out with black faces mm-hmm. and dirt, to now walking into Eaton or Boeing, or when they say like you can eat off the floor at a Mercedes manufacturer now because it's all technology. Really, it's an advanced process to put things together.
Yep, we haven't got to the eating on the floor, but
we're not eating on the floor at Eaton.
No, that's that. We're on the pursuit of that. We still, like everybody, it's a journey, right? To get to that, that's called a 5S plus. To get to that level of 5S and Kaizen events, these are Japanese, right? Terms that have come from Toyota.
Okay.
Toyota in the Toyota production model, right? That have been borrowed, I guess I'll say, without saying stolen.
Borrowed.
From Toyota. Duplicated, right? So
replicated.
We haven't quite got to the floor piece, but definitely we're on the pursuit of that. And in certain areas, you do have that sense.
Well, let's talk about it. Because what people envision careers in advanced manufacturing might not be a reality. So people envision, just now we talk about people walking away dirty. and that's not the case. Every time I see Shay is very clean and put together. So what are the career pathways within the advanced manufacturing industry?
So, I mean, you have, there's a number of career paths, honestly. You can work in HR.
Okay, at the administrative side?
Exactly. And within the administrative side, you've got HR, you've got supply chain.
Business development, people have to sell these products.
You have program management, you have environmental health and safety, you have operations, right? And these are the operations leaders. And then you have what we would call the manufacturing side, where these are the individuals and roles that are actually making the product. So in there you have, like you mentioned, CNC operators. You have what we consider specialty mill operators, which are a higher level of CNC operator. You have quality technicians. You have welders. So we have a lot of welders on site, and also we have ship and receiving. We have just our entry level machine operators. So yeah, I mean there's a ton of different opportunities and avenues.
What division did you call that?
That's I'd call it the manufacturing, operations, production.
So I think that's key when, as a workforce professional, we're consistently having to explain to people different roles. So like when you tell people, oh, you want to go work in IT, I tell people there's IT jobs in advanced manufacturing. There's IT jobs at your restaurant because servers have to put in your order. It has to then go to the kitchen. Workforce professionals, if you're listening out there, you really have to be able to pull out the specific occupations or industries within another industry. So as Shay just listed, HR, business development, CNC, higher level positions, so positions that require a certificate, don't require a certificate, require a degree. We really have to do a better job of explaining to job seekers that there's different occupations and industries within every industry. And I don't think we do a good job because the average high school or student or, you tell the average fifth grader, hey, you want to go work in advanced manufacturing, and they're going to look at you and be like, no.
Yeah.
But that's only because they don't know. So I appreciate you explaining that. We hit on it a little bit. Do you need a degree in advanced manufacturing? Because I feel like a lot of people, you just said it, are scared.
No.
Do you need a degree? No. You hear that, people? You do not need a degree. And that's one of the things we see in our job center all the time is, oh, I can't go into that career because I don't have a degree. You don't need one.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a number of individuals. I mean, the majority of our site doesn't, have a degree, right? And you have people there making $40 an hour, right? So it definitely
isn't required.
It can turn into something. But here's what I would say.
And hold on, Shay. For people that don't understand, $40 an hour is $80,000 a year, a little over $80,000. So that's a pretty good career without college debt.
Right. And that's straight time as well, right? So, there's overtime that's available just based on demand. So it's definitely, you can see how that can
application, time and a half on 40. You talking about $60 an hour, Shay?
Yeah, pretty good there. So what I would say is no, you don't need a degree, okay? Because we do training on site, but for those that are interested in getting a degree, we have a educational reimbursement program, right? So we actually
I'm going to have to kick all my staff out of this room.
Okay.
Because they're going to leave. So you're saying $40 an hour, tuition reimbursement. Next thing you're going to tell them is you only have to work one day a week.
No, you're probably going to work. You're going to work 5 for sure.
There you go.
Right, and then optional is the 6 and 7. But so we in the 40 to take that that comes with hard work.
Yeah, definitely.
And consistency,
definitely.
right? People aren't. You're not walking in the door.
You're not walking out the street on 40.
No, but what I would tell everybody is, if you come in and you're passionate about learning, you don't have a degree, you don't have to necessarily pursue one. If you do want to pursue one, we will help you with that. But there's plenty of growth and opportunity for those that don't have a college degree, but you have to have a high school diploma.
So I can't have an HR manager on my show in a industry and a business that's located in my county and you not update our listeners about the current opportunities at Eaton?
Yes. So
what is out there for somebody that's listening and saying, I might want to get a job in advanced manufacturing?
Yeah, there's plenty. We have 28. I just counted it up before we started. We have 28 open positions now, which require a high school diploma. You have to be 18 years old. But many of them, you can come in without any experience, and we'll train you. And for the entry-level positions, those are starting at $13.50. And that we do merit increases every year based on your performance. So that's, promotion. Yeah, I mean, we have 28, so I could run through them. The entry level are in our machine operator positions, in our metal forming.
So what is a machine
stream.
Operator?
So a machine operator would be a little step down from a CNC operator. You're still not banging away at parts by hand, but it may be a manual roller that you're using to form metallic parts.
To shape a metal, yeah.
Exactly. So that's in our metal forming value stream. We also have some insulator positions which are in where they insulate our ducting and tubes. We have a number of CNC operator positions, and many of those are sometimes filled internally, but we have a lot of third shift openings, right?
So there's growth potential in those.
Definitely growth potential. I mean, we go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, definitely growth potential. I mean, we have examples of us working with the Youth Career Connect program right through Prince George's.
Oh yeah, I was getting ready to shout it out because when Shay says you can hire people straight out of high school with no background or experience, our Prince George's County Youth Career Connections program, which has historically been an in-school youth program working with our public school system, Eaton and Shay have directly hired graduates out of that program. I'm gonna give this is one of my takeaways for our workforce professionals out there. In-school youth, partnering your in-school youth programs with local businesses. Local businesses love to get into schools, so offer that opportunity as a selling point for your youth program. A lot of times people don't think that businesses don't want to partner with school programs or in-school youth programs because they're young or they won't be able to hire them. We haven't seen that. A lot of businesses want to get into the high schools, and Eaton is one of those businesses that we partner with through our partnership with Shay to hire our graduates. Yeah,
so we've had two success stories. We have two more individuals this summer that we approached them on probably the second day about full-time opportunities, and they were like, what? Full-time? So, second day. So we definitely have opportunity. It's been good. Those individuals, we brought them in this time last year. We hired them on full-time, and both of them have been promoted in just a year, right? Just a year on the job have been promoted because they demonstrated the work ethic, the commitment that we look for, right? So we're looking to replicate that again with the two individuals we have this summer, and then again. And to your point, I would like to echo as far as this employer, right? We love getting into the schools because we can help to fight off some of that fear that you mentioned about in advanced manufacturing. No, I don't want to work there. I don't know what that is. When we can get into the school and we can talk about, hey, you see planes flying. Wouldn't you like to be a part of that industry and that business? Oh, yeah, that's cool. Something I can go home and talk about. And you can learn different things about how planes fly and what's critical components are. Yeah, we love to get into the school because, again, we can just plant that seed early on.
I might be new to this, but I know some other people are asking, what does CNC mean?
It's computer numerical control. Right, so that's what the acronym stands for. Okay. CNC.
I never knew.
Yeah.
But now the next time I go out, I'm like, computer numerical control systems operator, and they're not even gonna know I learned that last week. So CNC, computer numerical control. Okay.
And it's simply saying that there are programs set up similar to when you were in math. Early on you had the X and Y axis. There's a cutter that's moving along an axis. Some have, depending upon the technicality of the machine, they may have 3 axes. So you got an X, a Y, and a Z. But for the most part, you have 2 axes, and it's moving across on this axis, and the program is set up, and these are programmed by our manufacturing engineers. We have some operators that have to learn how to adjust the programs if things aren't working out. So that's, again, extra learning and skill. But essentially, you set the program up, you put the part in, and the cutter runs the program that it needs to run and is shaving off the material.
I just want to let you know, Shay, if you ever see my name on an application, don't hire me.
Okay.
Math was not my subject. But for those who are into math and engineering, what about the people that we talk to that say, I want to get an engineering degree? This sounds like this is right up their area if they are going the 4-year college route.
Yes, definitely. We have some individuals that are working while pursuing, right, their 4-year degree. So that really works out best for us because we end up hiring an engineer that comes in knowing exactly what the work is of a production operator, right? So that allows them to make sure that they're setting up, processes and things with the operator in mind to make things easier and more efficient and effective for workers.
Okay. So let's say the average 14-year-old high school student is trying to find his way or his or her way in school. What advice would you give them if they decided that they wanted to go into advanced manufacturing, or if they were into STEM and like math? What advice would you give them?
Well, one, complete your degree, right? Stay in school, complete your degree, and then I would just say if these individuals like making things, they like being proud of what they do. Most people that like to work with their hands, or if you're an artist, or whatever the case may be, you're doing that because you want to be proud of the end result. And what I'm here to tell everyone is by coming to work at Eaton in Beltsville, you will have the opportunity to be proud of what you make, right? Because when you see people flying on planes, or you see on the news something about an airplane, you can relate. You can say, man, I contribute to that industry. And it's empowering, it's encouraging for individuals. So the 14-year-old may not understand that, that empowering, encouraging, but I can say, look, you play Fortnite, right? And you know how you want to be the best Fortnite player, and you've committed to. It's the same type of commitment that you can have when you think about what we make and how it benefits others.
And I feel like that's everybody. If you ever ask somebody, like, do you know how to air that when you reach up and you're in an airplane or you're in a car, when you reach on and turn on the AC, you ever figure out how that AC gets there? Mm-hmm. This is the career for you. And we have to simplify that. Where can people go to learn more about Eaton in Beltsville? So
simply Eaton.com. So that's EATON.com. And once you get to the website, you can navigate to the careers page. And then in the keyword, you just type in Beltsville, and it will show you all of the positions that we have listed.
And would you consider this a STEM career?
Sure, certainly, definitely. Everything we do deals with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's just, to your point, you talked about how individuals need to frame their experience, right? I would argue that if you got a high school degree, you are a STEM candidate, essentially, right?
Okay.
You had to learn all of those areas during school.
Okay. So what do you think makes advanced manufacturing different than other industries?
Every industry, right, has their own deal that they're proud of, right? Whether, again, if you're making T-shirts, right, I'm sure you're proud of the logo or whatever you've come up with.
That's T-shirt maker in America.
Correct. But I really think what we have to offer is something that I've echoed, is just that passion and that knowing what you do. Really, we make what matters work.
Okay.
It's our brand promise. And when you truly get into an area where you do that, people, we all need T-shirts, right? But there's a lot of folks making those. But when you say who's making this component that's on this jet engine, right, and who's keeping this, it's me, right? It's a part of what I do, me, my colleagues, and everyone else. And you can go down the line as far as Eaton goes. Who's keeping this car running, right? It's these engine valves that are helping make that go. Who's keeping the lights on in this building, right? We have an electrical sector that does that. So
what would you say makes, when somebody's out there, what is Eaton? How does Eaton stand out across the pack in the industry?
So, I mean, that's something that we're working.
No pressure.
Right, because many people, you're not going to see an Eaton commercial on TV.
You don't?
Yeah, you're not.
I didn't know about Eaton until I met you.
I didn't know about Eaton until I met them at the University of Minnesota 12 years ago. So the way we stand now, I think, is our brand promise, right? We stand behind that. We also have a long track record of being an ethical organization. We've been around, I think it's maybe 105 years now.
Oh, so y'all was making AC for the Wright brothers.
At the time, they weren't that advanced, but I guess we could say that. But we've been around, right? We've had a demonstrated path of ethical behavior. We're interested in, getting the best talent as it relates to inclusion and diversity, right? We have pretty good benefits, in my opinion, right? We have the educational assistance program. We got the paid parental leave. We're doing. Oh, you
got enough benefits to make my staff quit. So
exactly.
Let's go to the next subject on that one.
But I guess to set us apart is you would be Eaton as a whole is an organization that has their hands in many different things, right? I've worked in our automotive division. I worked in electrical. I worked in our truck division. I worked in our hydraulics division. All of those different businesses, different go-to-market strategies, different customers, right? But all together, all under one umbrella and operate under the Eaton business system.
So as an HR manager, what do you see as, traits that lead to successful people at any level at Eaton? What are the successful traits of your top employees?
So, I mean, if you think when we hire for an entry-level position, right, the 3 leadership attributes, we have 6 leadership attributes.
Oh, wow, okay, shoot them out to us.
Okay, so they are, you have transparent, okay, right? So we need everyone to say what they think, make it okay to disagree. You have efficient, right, which is we value, speed and simplicity. Passion is one, so if you can asterisk that one, that's one that I'd say you have to come in with passion, it being we care deeply about what we do, right? Ethical is another one, and ethical is one that we just consider, that's the entry ticket. You got to be ethical. Efficient, I hit efficient already. Let me see. Accountable, right? Okay. So accountable is really about standing by what I say, right? And if you say you're going to do something, you get it done. And then the last one there is learner, right? So learner is a big one also in terms of that's the other asterisk. When we look at hiring a new position, it's passion, right? It's learner, and then it's ethical that we really look at trying to assess to see it. Does this individual have that? Because passion will take you a long way. Passion takes care of you coming to work every day. Right, from an attendance standpoint, if you care about what you're doing, you're going to be here, right? Or accountable takes care of, hey, if we asked you, if you signed up for something, you're going to get it done. And learner really takes care of that whole, we know you're coming in not knowing what you're doing, right? But you have to be willing to learn, have a passion for learning new things, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah, they say a person who no longer learns, no longer lives.
Yeah.
So you got to be willing to grow. What would you say is, as an HR manager, is the most common mistake people make during their application process or interview process?
I would say during the application, I mean, you just, with your resume, you can control that, right?
Yeah.
So please make sure there's no misspellings.
Oh, grammatical errors.
Grammatical errors are very detrimental because you think you have the opportunity. You're controlling that environment. When you come to the interview, you're not really in control of that environment because we could ask you something that's totally off the wall, right? So in terms of the application process, that would be in the interview process. It's really one of the biggest pitfalls is maybe not admitting if you made errors or if we ask you a question that what I would call as a negative question. So we'd say, hey, Walter, tell me about a time you made a mistake. Okay. And if your default is, I've never made a mistake. Yeah, I've never made a mistake, exactly. Or I can't think of, something. We've all made mistakes, so
just be honest.
Just be honest and be open. And the other thing I would say is, as it relates to, if you do get, so say you do get an offer, right? We talk a lot about, helping out, or taking applicants that are transitioning, maybe from, you've got a criminal history or whatnot. The biggest thing that I would tell to an individual with that, past, I guess I would call it, is to just be open, be honest. If we get to the, to the background check portion and you're asked about your criminal history, it's best to just come out front, because really most employers nowadays are held to the standard of, if I'm going to not hire you because of a criminal offense, it has to directly relate to your position, right? It has to relate to your job. So if that's not the case, you should really, and 9 times out of 10, there's not much that we can relate, especially in advanced manufacturing, right? If you say you had a, I don't know, you had some sort of offense, right, with an assault, right? It probably wouldn't relate to you.
Unless you've been in the industry, manufacturing advance, it doesn't relate. So you gotta be honest.
Yeah, be honest. I think that's the biggest pitfall during an interview, is where there's no honesty.
Okay. Well, thank you for having us on our show again. How can people find out more information about Eaton?
Eaton.com, EATON.com, and search for the career site and type keyword Beltsville.
So we're working with Shay Curry. We're working with Eaton. If you want to learn more about Employ Prince George's programs, visit www.employpg.org. Again, www.employpg.org. This is the wrap up. This is the end of the Workforce Wire. This is one of our industry spotlight series. We're going to spotlight series throughout the year. We started out with advanced manufacturing, one of the all-stars in Prince George's County, Shay Curry. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Walter, for having me.
All right. You'll see us again on the Workforce Wire. This is Walter Simmons. Thank you.